You know, the interpretation of a law in any jurisdiction like ours is anchored on the functional or the logical interpretation of such a statute. Section 8412 of the Electoral Act raised the national adrenaline late last year when the National Assembly sought by legislation that only by direct primary shall any political party determine its candidate for election. Now, the president withheld his assent because of this. Again, President Muhammadu Buhari told the Federal High Court in Abuja yesterday that he never asked the National Assembly to expunge the contentious Section 8412. He said he only expressed reservations and concerns in respect of that aspect of the Electoral Act. As far as he is concerned, the section is unconstitutional and cannot stand, BC.
No, the section is constitutional as it is because it's a valid law of the federal...
Am I misquoting Mr. President?
That is the opinion of Mr. President. And the president is entitled to his opinion. However, as it is, Section 8412 of the amended electoral
is constitutional?
Is constitutional right now because the president himself has assented his signature to that bill, which made it to become an act of law.
Yeah.
Now, it does not mean that the president does not have the power to seek a review of that section of the yes. Then it also means that the National Assembly will look at it, and if they decide to review it in line with the president's wish, then and the president signs it, it becomes law again. But as it is now, this is what we have as our law. I think what Mr. President is saying is that he is not saying that that law is not there. You know, the PDP took the federal government to court, and the PDP is saying that because the president wrote the National Assembly that they should expunge that aspect of it because he had earlier expressed his reservations about it, and he just signed because of the timing, and he does not want anything to
and it had raised a lot of dust in the country.
Yes, exactly. So I think what he's just trying to say by that statement is that I am not forcing anybody. I am not saying that this is not what I have signed. However, it is obvious that the president is not satisfied with that section of the amended Electoral Act, and he would like to have it expunged. And it is very important to him because right now, based on that section of the law, many of Mr. President's aides that are going into
elective
offices and campaigning now are supposed to resign their offices, and they have not done so right now. And if this continues with the state of things, there is going to be there are likely to be legal issues should any of such people emerge victorious in any election in future.
The flags and so on.
Exactly. So
Emeka, in this country, the law, when it comes to the aspect of the law, we look at interpretation, and it seems to create more problem than it seeks to solve.
Yeah, it's more worrisome when officials of government who should actually help to protect the law, protect the national interest, try to subvert the law in their personal interest. That is a more worrisome aspect. You see, this matter came up in two different courts. Mr. Femi Falana, SAN, actually accused the Attorney General of the Federation of not informing the court in Umuahia that there was a pending case before Justice Iyangekwo on the same matter. And you now went ahead with a matter at the Federal High Court in Umuahia. And when the court gave a ruling, you quickly moved to try to implement it against your power, try to exercise powers that you do not own, that the Constitution didn't give to you to expunge a portion of a law. Now, it is strongly speculated that the Attorney General intends to contest, the governorship election in Kebbi State.
Made known his
yes.
intention.
Now, it is clear that he now has other interests beyond being in the office of the Attorney General of the Federation. The same thing with Ngige, the Minister of Labour, the same thing with Emeka Nwajoba, the Minister of State for Education. I think they should excuse us and leave those seats. Because, Mr. President, in a matter of weeks, we'll be getting into the last lap of his administration, the last year. So I think the President at this point should even rejig his cabinet, should get some fresh hands to help him run the last lap smoothly. You see, these people have divided interests. All they are doing is they are pointing to Fahimi, the governor of Ekiti State, that he resigned 30 days to the election. You see, I wonder why our government officials like to point to negative, unhelpful instances.
References, yeah.
Yes. Instead of pointing to things that we build, that will help to strengthen our laws, help to strengthen our value system, they point at things that they could use, corral, things to their advantage. And it is very wrong. It is very wrong. In fact, it's even their actions.
You wonder if these things are deliberate.
Yes. Why was the Electoral Act delayed? Okay, the idea was that the presidency, the executive was trying to avoid consensus being fixed in the Electoral Act. But at the end of the day, the APC, the ruling party, elected its officials by consensus. So what are we talking about? You are probating and reprobating at the same time. But my suspicion is that Section 8412 was the reason why the Electoral Act was delayed, why the assent was delayed, because some people trying to push their selfish interests advised Mr. President that he should delay assent. Don't forget, some of these provisions have actually been dealt with far back the time of the 8th Senate under Dr. Bukola Saraki.
Yeah.
So these things are not new provisions. These things are not novel provisions that, okay, they will say they require, they need some time.
Contesting elective office, you are giving a number of days.
Even the Speaker of the House of Representatives, who is also a member of APC, has advised these ministers that look at in the states, people in appointive offices are resigning. Yeah. You are not bigger than the law. That you may think you are being smart, that the law will favor you. What if at the end of the day, you've won election and all of that, you even been sworn in, and then the Supreme Court rules that you got there through the flagrant disobedience to the law? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You have to step aside. And now, it is in their own interest to uphold the law as federal officers. It is unfortunate that it is people at the level of the states that are showing example to people at the federal level.
Yeah.
Mr. President should just ask them to excuse, to leave those offices and go and face the electoral pursuits, so that we can have a Federal Executive Council of people whose minds are set on working for the nation.
Busy, and when the general impression is that politics is about the only viable vocation in the country, you are wondering if politicians deliberately refuse to play by the rules.
Of course, yes, they do. They deliberately refuse to play by the rules because if they
it won't mean anything.
Yes, if they play by the rules, I doubt if we will see people struggling to be in power the way we are seeing them now. And unfortunately, because nothing has happened to those who refuse to play by the rules in the past, we continue to see many more just disobeying rules and laws and all of that.
Sorry, BC, we have Olushola is joining us from Ibadan, Oyo State. Olushola, I greet you, sir. Are you there? No luck. So go on.
Yeah, because the provision of this Section 8412 is very simple. No political appointee at any level shall be a voting delegate or be voted for at the convention or congress of any political party for the purpose of the nomination of candidates for any election.
Yeah.
So they know, and it's a very simple thing.
Sorry, I hear Olushola is still waiting at Ibadan. Okay. Are you there, Olushola? Hello, Olushola. Are you listening to me? No luck.
Okay.
Yeah. Better luck next time.
Wow. Yeah. Now, so you see, it's a very simple provision. And what are we even talking about? If you are a political appointee, you are supposed to work in the interest of Nigeria for the benefit of the nation. I guess one of the reasons why this provision is there is to prevent any form of distraction on the parts of political office holders. And I think if we appreciate the fact that if you are appointed a minister, you are supposed to serve the country, and you are supposed to devote your 100% to that, we will appreciate why this kind of provision of law is important. Because this time around, it's not a case of disenfranchisement. It's a case of choice. It's a case of either choosing to serve in a particular role or choosing to aspire
and play by the rules at the same time.
At the same time, yes. So, but the point they are bringing in now is that if you don't allow them, you are disenfranchising them. I don't think that is any form of disenfranchisement, because that is the point that the Attorney General of the Federation is raising through the President. But I doubt if this is the case in this particular situation. And it would be nice if people just look at the general interest of the nation and play according to rules and do things that will benefit everyone.
And just to take a line from George Orwell's 1984, the book 1984, Big Brother is watching you.